Welcome to the Freedom and Prosperity Podcast with your host, Desi Arnaz. Join us as we explore the journeys of top achievers who share strategies and stories about their success and living life on their own terms. Get ready to be inspired.
Everly May Capital Group is proud to be sponsors of the Freedom and Prosperity Podcast because we believe that every American should be striving for freedom and prosperity. To that end, what we do is we allow people to partner with us in our real estate business. We invest in real estate and real estate related assets all around the country, and people use their IRA, their 401k, their personal savings, even their mattress money to invest with us so they can earn above average returns. They can earn passive income on a quarterly basis, and their investment is secured by real property, unlike the stock market, right? And so if you want to know more about how that works, then head on over to our website. It is www.everlymaymortgagefund.com, and Everly May is spelled Everlymae. Head on over to everlymaymortgagefund.com. You can learn more about what it is that we do, and if you like what you see, you can schedule an appointment to speak with me directly, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. So, with that being said, enjoy today's episode. God bless you. Hello, and welcome, guys, to today's episode of the Freedom and Prosperity Podcast. I am Desi Arnaz, your host, and I am excited about today's session because we're going to be talking with a gentleman that kind of helps people express themselves, I guess is a good way to put it, right? To help people express themselves. He helps people put their thoughts and the things that are inside their heart and their passions, put it into print, which is a really nice thing. I've written a book personally myself, and I can tell you guys this, it's a chore to write a book. And this gentleman, his name is Dan Curran. He helps people make that chore a little easier to do, which gives us an opportunity to express ourselves, which gives us that sense of freedom that we're all looking for in our lives. So Dan, welcome to the Freedom and Prosperity Podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here and looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear your story. You know, I know that you are I'm going to say this, a serial entrepreneur. That's interesting to me.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to me. Tell me about that. How did you go down that path?
So after college, way back when, I was gainfully employed with a company, but soon found out that I had ideas swirling in my head, and so for the next decade or two, I have been in mostly the marketing and writing space, starting ad agencies, building those, selling them, and now in recent years, moved over to an ancillary industry in publishing. So just like anyone, whether you're a dry cleaner entrepreneur or Steve Jobs or Elon Musk or whoever, you have something swirling in your head and you want to try to solve it, and so
Yeah.
that's what I've been blessed and cursed with, I guess.
Blessed and cursed. I like that.
Yeah.
Not all blessings feel like blessings, but
Oh, yeah.
but
But
they
it's
are.
been good. It's a wonderful life full of ups and downs, but just like everyone.
Yeah. Most of us are taught to just go to school, get a good education, which obviously you did, and then go land a job someplace. And if it's possible, stay there, 40 or 50 years and then retire and live your golden years, I guess, in relative comfort. That's kind of the idea. But it sounds like to me you rejected that idea. You said you went to school, you did get that corporate job, and then you said, nah, it's not a fit. Is that kind of how it happened for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I often think I can't quantify it, or it's not for sure, but I think being an entrepreneur kind of finds something you can go out and search. And I think I did at that time as well. I want to do this or that. But as far as identifying a market opportunity, again, whether it's a dry cleaning store or a marketing agency or podcast, whatever, it seems to kind of find you, and that's what it did. So a few years
Mhm.
later, I saw an opportunity in marketing and put two and two together, and um, that's how I'm wired. Not everyone is wired that way.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that there's going to be more entrepreneurs, not less entrepreneurs in the coming decades. And if that is someone's journey, I'm a big cheerleader for that.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, you still have to, so I was in marketing and publishing, but I don't know if I knew what being a business person was like,
Yeah.
balancing checkbook and a balance
Yeah.
sheet and all that. So those rules are universal. You've got to, if that's not your ilk, or if you're not good at that, but you have other ideas that you want to create a business, certainly understand someone, if it's not you, find someone really smart to manage money and be a profitable business, because that's kind of, to be an entrepreneur, it's two things, right? It's whatever your vision is, and then the accounting part. And the accounting
And it's the
part is,
business side.
yeah,
Yeah.
trust me, marketing people are generally not good business people. So, you have to learn that as well. But if you put those two together, then hopefully can have a career and nice income for you and your family.
Yeah. It really is about building the right team around yourself, which is what I hear you saying. Just let's see, 10 days ago, I was invited to a breakfast meeting with a lady that has a business idea, and it's a great business idea in my opinion. And she was looking to me as a possible investor within her company, and I'm open to that. But one of the things that I had to help her realize is that her idea is excellent, but she really has no business acumen at all. You know what I mean? She has a great idea and she's very good at what she does. But as you just said, what about the business side of this thing? And when after our conversation, it was almost as though her eyes were open. She was like, "Oh, I hadn't
Yeah.
really thought about that side of it." You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Well,
And
I don't, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, that's okay. I just found it interesting that we get so inspired and motivated by our ideas that we don't think about the whole picture.
Yeah. Well, I mean, then that's why she needs to reach out to you and people like you. And, someday people will reach out to her, because
Yeah.
it's very common. Just watch Shark Tank, and
Yeah, yeah,
have,
really.
have those men and women ask you the tough questions. That's really it. I mean, that's show
Yeah.
business, but it's certainly not far from the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. Well, the funny thing is I like to say it this way. I was an entrepreneur just like yourself. I shouldn't say most of my life, pretty much all of my life. I started my first business when I was still in high school, a junior in high school. And I found it to be liberating and freeing on one hand, but also enslaving on another hand. You
Yeah.
know, um, and it wasn't, I was more than 60 years old before I finally realized I really have to learn how to let go and let other people do what they do. And I need to focus in my genius zone, if you might want to call it. This is what I am really good at, and this is what I need to focus on. And I need to be willing to bring other people in to help with the other things. And I was always under the impression that it was super expensive to bring other people in with other things. And so I was learning how to do all kinds of stuff, all personally. I was doing all the bookkeeping, the taxes, I was the janitor and the president and just the whole
Yeah.
thing. And once I learned to really let go, and I learned that not everyone out there is very expensive. Some people just want to be a part of something bigger. And I've been able to really attract some really good talents into my life and into my business, and it's not as expensive as I had thought it would be. And oftentimes I'm able to negotiate just a sliver of the business in ownership to a person, sharing in the business as it grows. And so it's a win-win. It doesn't cost me out of pocket initially. They help with the growth and they benefit from the growth. And for me, that's been a liberating thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's given me more freedom than I ever dreamed possible. And And
Well, I
I'm,
think that's like accounting. It's a learned, I mean, some people are born with it and
yeah,
Amazon, he
yeah,
must have known instantly to scale
yeah,
that company in weeks, months, and years quickly. I'm more like you wanted your Swiss Army knife, but for some people, if you have a, newsstand or some lawn mowing business, that's fine. It's just you and,
hmm,
maybe that's perfect for you. But if you do want scale, if you do want to hopefully reduce a bit of stress and really
yes,
benefit from others, it's yeah, always be on the lookout for someone that can join your team for sure.
yes. Otherwise, you don't really have a business. You have a job that you own, and that's not freedom. I mean, I did well as an entrepreneur prior to, understanding this basic principle, but I I I worked my rear end off constantly. You know what I mean? And it was rough. And now that I understand this, I have learned that I don't need to work that way. As a matter of fact, actually, I find it to be detrimental to overwork. I'm not my most creative. I don't bring my real brilliance into this thing when my mind is clouded with 100 different things. That makes
Impossible.
sense?
You're right. You're 100% impossible.
Yeah.
In fact, even where I am in my stage of life, I just even this last year, this is not prolific. It's just I've learned, and I did it a couple of hours ago to really check out every day for a good 30, 45 minutes. When I say check out, I mean check out. Like either, junk TikTok or,
Yeah.
just a walk or
Yeah.
petting an animal or whatever other than work.
Yes.
And then you're a totally different person. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it is. It really, really is. You come back and you're recharged and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Um, I'm reading this book. It's called The One Thing, and
Mm.
it was by Gary Keller. He's the guy that started Keller Williams Real Estate,
Okay.
that national
Yep.
franchise. And I'm reading it now for the second or third time. I don't remember. I know the first time I read it was like a decade ago. But
Mm.
in the book, he talks about willpower, and he talks about how our willpower is like a battery, a cell phone battery. He says, it overnight when you rest, it charges up. So you wake up in the morning, it's fully charged and it's good to go. But he says throughout the day, as you're doing things, you literally are wearing down your willpower. And he said that's why if you had a stressful day, at the end of the day, let's say you're trying to lose some weight, but at the end of the day, you had a stressful day. It's really easy to be tempted to eat that junk,
Yeah,
eat the junk
absolutely.
food because, oh God, I just need this today. I gotta have this ice cream,
Yeah.
And I thought that's really interesting. And so he talks about that, and I started a while back, probably the second time that I read that book, I said, okay, I'm going to start to take some time off, like you just said. Take out time during the middle of the day for me, and I don't even take most of the time I turn my ringer off of my phone.
Yeah.
Honestly, I just
Yeah.
don't want to be touched, you know.
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah. I think yeah, we could go deeper in this. I think it's just guilt. We all have a lot of guilt, and somehow someone's reminding us back 100 years ago that we're lazy or,
Oh my
something
gosh,
for
yeah.
getting off. So it's glorifying the grind is
Yeah.
like a cancer, basically, is kind of whoever came up with that.
Boy, that's a powerful statement.
Yeah,
Glorifying the grind.
yeah.
It,
And
it is it is like a cancer.
yeah, and I don't, it's wish I would have learned it, in my 20s, but
I
here we are.
know.
I'll take it now. But
I'll take it now too. Yeah, I
yeah,
learned it in my 60s. I'll take it now
yeah,
because the grind is not what is going to give prosperity. We believe that it is, and maybe, like you said, maybe there's a level of guilt, something subconscious there that says, I got to keep going. I got to keep going. Um, but if you really want to excel, I've learned that you really do have to recharge. So I have an
yeah.
interesting day. The way I structure my day, Dan, is one of the things that I do in my day is I work in 2 hour spurts.
Hmm.
I work for 2 hours, I take off 2 hours. So I'll work in my world, I work from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock in the morning because I love the mornings, right?
Yep.
Then 7 to 9, I don't work. I don't even have my ringer on. I don't look at my emails. Then 9 until actually 11:30, I work. Then 11:30 to 1:30, I don't work. I spend that time with my wife. We go out for lunch or do whatever, go for a walk
Mhm.
or do whatever. And then from 1:30 to 3:30, I work. That's it. I'm done.
Yeah.
And boy, oh boy, I've become more productive during that time. I've written a book. Now I host a podcast. I used to be so much of a grind. I couldn't do anything. It's like, how am I supposed to find time to write a book? How am I supposed to find time to
Right.
do a podcast? I was doing all these things, but because I'm recharging my battery along the way, I just find I'm just more productive. And when I'm working, I'm working, and when I'm not, I'm not, you know?
Yeah.
And so I want to talk to you about that because I know that you help people put together books. Your company is called Chapters. And by the way, I love the name.
Thanks. Yeah, it works out. It's of course it can mean chapters of a book, but it's chapters of your life. It's kind of what
Yes.
inspired us. So
Yes. That's kind of where I took it. Chapters of my life. Um, I'm ready to put together a new book. I have it in me. And
mhm.
so how can chapters help me and those that are watching, those of us that have something we feel like we want to get out there? How does your company work and how can it help us?
Yeah, and as much as I want to, sell and I'm like you, I'm in the for-profit business and we always like
Sure.
clients, but I'll take a step back and just um really be an advocate for everyone to tell their story and not to sound too sappy, but it really does matter. It does matter to someone somewhere at some time now or 100 years from now
Yeah.
to capture it. And if you also think about it, it's kind of silly. I don't know about your parents, whatever, but my parents are no longer with us, but there's no document of their life. And I lost my father when I was in high school. And, I don't know politically, spiritually, relationships, it'd be kind of
Yeah.
cool to know business, what he felt about life and, his stress. I never, it was all hidden from me, and I'm sure.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's my first thing, just big advocate. And what's great is I'm assuming everyone that's listening here has a phone, you can record all these thoughts, just record them. And now there's technology that organizes it and then ChatGPT, et cetera. So that's the first thing, just record. Unless you're just a prolific writer, then then you're blessed
Hmm.
there. But if you're like the rest of us, just record and take those weeks, months, and years to, pull your thoughts together. As far as a book, um, that's where it gets crazy, kind of intimidating. I think you would agree. We haven't spoken about it, but publishing is confusing. There's a spectrum. There's self-publishing where you just grind it out. You Google how you publish a book and
Yeah.
hire a editor and hire a book cover designer and then Amazon, and it's all learnable. Every bit of it. You just have to sit down and kind of figure it out for a couple of hours, and you go, okay, and those are the steps. I got to get an editor and so forth.
Hmm.
So that's self-publishing. Then there's hybrid publishing, and hybrid publishing is you write a check for ten to $50,000 to a company or to a ghostwriter and a company, and they'll do it all for you. They'll be a
Hmm.
ghostwriter, take 5 to 10 months to write the book,
Hmm.
and then they'll help, get a book cover designer and load everything up, and you'll have a launch and email all your friends and family and others. And then the third is traditional publishing. You would get an agent, and they would pitch your book to one of a dozen, but there's really five big publishers. So, and that you don't spend any money, but you've got to have I guess I'm not a musician, but it's probably like pitching a producer or something. You
Sure.
got to sell yourself. And
Sure.
it's one in 1,000 that you are traditionally published. So there's this whole spectrum. And it's a long-winded way for me to tell you how we developed our company. Our company took, when AI came out, we couldn't use it for writing books because that's not authentic. But we thought,
Right.
oh, why don't we use the AI to record, to organize your thoughts, to ask questions? So that's what we have done, and we've teamed it with an editor. So Our clients are, and we're competing kind of because we're new in this last couple of years. We're still in the startup phase, but we're competing against really high-end ghostwriters, and they're expensive. So they cost $60,000 to $200,000
Wow.
to interview you for 3 or 4 months. And I would imagine if you're Hillary Clinton or Elon Musk, it's probably $300,000. So there's this
Sure.
world that does all that. So we thought, well, isn't there a cheaper way? And so that's what we're working on is right now we're kind of holding people's hand, but we hope to have so our product right now is a third of all that. So we're much less, but we're continually trying to value engineer it. But our process is we interview you over 2 or 3 months, and every word out of your mouth is immediately being organized, not changed, just organized in a story arc. And then
Okay.
the editor works with you. So we're in that, when I spoke about the spectrum, we're in the middle of that spectrum. We're what's called hybrid. We're helping you. You pay us some money, and then we help you write the book. Now, if people have a lot of money, they can go and hire the
Yeah.
Elon Musk ghostwriter. If they're on a shoestring budget or no budget, I still advocate, and I'll give you one website that hit my radar. It's called Lex. I think it's lex.ai. It might be lex.com.
Hmm.
And it is a supercharged like Word or Google Doc where it is helping you. It's kind of and I'm sure this is where Google Docs is going, but it's kind of like if Google Docs got married to ChatGPT. And so it'll help you if you get stuck or if you think a sentence sounds really dumb, you can have it help you out
I
and give
see.
you suggestions. So it's not plagiarizing, it's just kind of helping you. So whether you use someone like us, whether you use an agent, or whether you use something like Lex, it's all good to me because we all need to tell our stories.
Yeah. And our stories, as you said earlier, there's someone that your story will impact, even if you don't think so.
Yeah.
It does. There's people out there that will relate to it, and they may make life-changing decisions after hearing your story. And that's why I think each of our stories is so important.
And if you do want to, if you have that entrepreneurial bug, and you want to be a speaker or consultant, it is funny that this old thing that we call a book, as I'm sure you attest, gives you stature.
It does.
And even if it doesn't sell, most don't even sell that many, but it is a foundation. And by the way, pouring all your guts, wisdom, knowledge, life experiences out over a few months kind of awakens who you are, and you feel, kind of, okay, this is who I am as a person. Maybe this is how
Yeah.
I can be a consultant and or a speaker.
So you're saying personally you grow as a result of doing this personally.
I don't even think that's strong enough words.
Really?
I think it's a very selfish in a good way exercise. You have to be selfish sometimes in life. Most of us are always taking care of someone or worried
Yeah.
about someone. It goes back to taking the 2 hours off or whatever. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't even know if I have the words for it. It's just really important. I'll just put
It is. And it's funny, I wrote a book. I wrote a book. It's called A Family Circle of Wealth,
Mhm.
because what I did is, as a family, the matriarch, the patriarch in my family, I decided to set up a family trust. And so I wrote this book kind of describing what I did and how I did it. Well, just before today, just before this podcast, I received a phone call from a person that is one of the heirs to the Coca-Cola fortune, right? And she was just telling me kind of her story. I have to pick it up again after this because
Yeah.
we didn't even get through the story. Okay. She was telling me her story. She's read my book. I don't know
Nice.
how she got it even. I didn't even ask her that yet. But she read my book and she said, I see what you've done with your family. And I want to know more and I want to understand it more. Of course, her uh, father passed and their family has trusts, not just one. They have
Yeah, sure.
trusts, and a foundation and other stuff. But I had no clue that that would come from me writing this little 100-page book, just telling my own story, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's the point you're making. You don't know who's going to reach out to you. You don't know what impact you're going to have on other people, but it has been really, really good. And in my own family, I've got 4 adult children and several adult grandchildren, and they've all read my book, and I didn't expect that either.
Yeah. Yeah, too long to go into it, but there's still this kind of old school, and it does help to some degree to think, oh, I want to be a bestseller, and there's ways you can kind of
Yeah,
system. That's inconsequential, really.
I agree.
It's really, even the publishers are not going to do that much work for you. It's you having 8 of those books in the front seat of your car, and
Yeah.
over 3 months you handing it out, or someone, and then if you do want to put in some muscle and really sell it, there's great. That's great. But
Yeah.
for sure do that. But yeah, you'll get a call from like you got today. That's
Yeah, it's
awesome.
really,
Yeah.
really wonderful. And
Yeah.
I don't try to sell it. My oldest son goes, you need to sell this, you need to promote it. And I said, I'm going to give it away.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's what I do. I'm
Yeah.
asked to speak around the country because my profession, even though I should be retired, I'm an investor, right?
Mhm.
And I build apartment buildings around the country, and I also invest in mortgage notes. We buy more people's mortgages, and they pay their mortgage payments to our company. It's a family business
Mhm.
that I started, and I've got family working in it, and everybody's in key positions. And we have non-family members that work there too. But my objective really was just to build something that outlasts me. And that's what I was able to accomplish. And it has really even brought my family closer together, starting with this little book. It has brought my family closer together as a family, and so
Yeah.
I see a
That's
lot of
awesome.
benefit from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons that I'm really happy that you're here today, because it can be intimidating to think about writing and publishing a book. And your company, Chapters, and by the way, your website is chapters.io, is that correct?
Correct. Yep. Chapters.io, and Dan
Chapters.io.
Curran on LinkedIn. So happy to talk to anyone.
And Curran is Curran. You
Yep.
guys that are watching here, I would ask you guys to dig deep inside your souls. And if you have a book or a story that you want to tell, then what you want to do is head over to chapters.io, connect with Dan, and let him help guide you. Dan and I spoke earlier about us trying to do everything as individuals, entrepreneurial minded people, right? We are those people, roll up your sleeves and just get it done. Well, guess what, guys? That's not the best approach. I know that that's what we feel and we think, but the best approach really is to do the part that you're good at and then let someone else do the part that they're good at. And Dan and his team are good at extracting the best of you from your story and organizing it so that your story resonates, not just for you, but for the people that it touches. And changing lives there's nothing better than influencing the lives of others positively with your story. I think you guys will love that. And Dan can help you do that. Dan, I want to thank you for joining us here today on the Freedom and Prosperity Podcast. Do you have any final words that you'd like to share with the viewers?
Just I think we covered a lot, and to maybe harp on what I mentioned previous is don't let the voices that are preventing you from writing enter your psyche. You're worthy, and that one, maybe it's just one little story that happened to you. That can be a big story. So sometimes the more focused you get on an idea of something in your life, doesn't have to be chronologically your life, but like trust, just focus on one aspect of finance, that one word, trust. Well, that'll turn into 100 ideas. So think small, and then that'll be more creative,
Focus.
rather than starting at I got to do my whole life.
I love it. I love it. So focus. Thank you for that. Thank you for
Yeah.
those words of wisdom. You young people out there, especially, I want you guys to understand, Dan just shared with you guys that even though he had gone to college, and so did I, right, for a particular topic, we did not let that define our life moving forward. We reached inside to say, hey, what am I really feeling? What do I really want my life to look like? oftentimes when we get into college or when we're going into college, we don't really even know. We're just going because that's what we're supposed to do. And once you kind of get through it, you're more mature, you have more life experience, then you can really decide what do you want to do with your life. So with that in mind, guys, don't beat yourself up if you're not where you thought you'd be by now. And don't feel like it's a race. Or if it is a race, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Okay? Understand that. And just continuously put one foot in front of the other and continue to make progress on a daily basis. And the rest takes care of itself. Huh, Dan?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All
Thank
right. All right. Well, thank you again, Dan, for joining us. I want to thank you guys for watching. Share this episode, by the way. Share this episode with your friends and someone that you feel, your friends, family, whatever. Watch it again. And then, as I said, reach out to Dan over at chapters.io or just Dan Curran on LinkedIn. Curran is Curran on LinkedIn. And let Dan help you tell your story. So until next time, guys, as always, I want to say this. God bless you. God bless your family, and God bless America. See you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to the Freedom and Prosperity Podcast with Desi Arnaz. Want to share your success story with our audience? Head over to freedomandprosperitypodcast.com/guest and apply to be our next guest.